Chapter 1. The Cat with Two Eyes. Some animals you don't choose. They choose you. Old saying from the village of Horonaikai. They arrived on a pale Thursday morning, the kind that didn't seem to know if it was still summer or already fall. The village of Horonaikai was so small that Google Maps gave up before you even hit the gravel road leading in. The trees leaned in close as if eavesdropping. Fog clung low to the earth like something trying to hide, or trying to wait. The Dobrov family hadn't planned on moving there. No one really plans to live in a place like that. But the will was clear. Grandma Larissa's old house, untouched for 15 years, was theirs now. No mortgage. No landlords. Just a lot of history and one cracked skeleton of a farmhouse nestled between whispering pine. Anna Dobrov, 37, wiped her hands on her jeans as she stepped out of the car. Her husband, Marco, stretched his back and muttered something about rural horror movie setups. Their daughter, Sofia, 13 and always skeptical, squinted at the crooked house. Only little Misha, 4, clapped with delight at the sight of a rusty swing in the backyard. Then they saw him. He was sitting right there, on the porch railing like he had been waiting the whole time. A black cat. Not dusty gray. Not charcoal. Black like pitch. Black like night after nightmares, with a coat that swallowed the light. But it wasn't the color that froze Anna in her place. It was his eyes. One was a bright, almost glowing sky blue, the color of glacier water or a morning just before snowfall. The other was amber, deep and liquid like melted gold, yet filled with something old. Something watching. The cat blinked slowly like he already knew them. "Mom?" Sofia said. "He's weird." Marco snorted. Weird is the word. Misha, of course, loved him immediately. "Kitty!" he screamed and ran forward before anyone could stop him. The cat didn't move, didn't hiss, didn't even flinch when Misha wrapped small arms around his body. "He's purring," Misha reported, eyes wide. "He likes me." But when Anna reached to pet it, the cat looked at her, no into her, and hissed. Not angrily, not violently. Almost as a warning. That night, as they unpacked boxes and tried to scrub 15 years of silence out of the wooden walls, the cat remained outside, watching, not begging to come in, just sitting on the same porch railing, tail swaying back and forth like a metronome keeping time with some unseen clock. "I don't like it," Anna whispered to Marco after the kids fell asleep. "That cat. Something's wrong." Marco shrugged. "It's just a stray. Weird eyes, sure. But if it wants to hang around, maybe it'll scare off mice." But it wasn't just a stray. By the end of the first week, the villagers had started showing up. At first, it was just one old woman, wrapped in a scarf, eyes sharp as crow feathers. "You kept the black one," she said without introduction. "Excuse me?" Anna asked. "The cat. The one with the cursed eyes." Anna blinked. "He's not ours. He just showed up." The woman scoffed. "He shows up for a reason. He always does. My daughter saw him before her house burned down. The teacher who went blind. She found him on her doorstep a week before. That animal's a warning, not a pet." Anna tried to laugh it off. "Well, we're not superstitious, thank you." But as the old woman walked away, she called back without turning. "Then may your children sleep well. While they still can." It wasn't long before Anna noticed other things. The cat never ate. She tried leaving food, meat, fish, even warm milk. Nothing was ever touched. He never left paw prints, even on dust-covered porch steps or in fresh garden soil. He never meowed. Never made a sound unless he was hissing at empty corners of the house, or staring into shadows that shouldn't have moved. Sometimes Anna would find him in rooms she had locked the night before. Once she found him on Misha's bed at 3:17 a.m., watching the window. Not sleeping. Not curled up. Just watching. The breaking point came one cold evening in September. Marco had gone into town for supplies. The sun had dipped behind the trees. Anna was folding laundry in the living room while Sofia did homework in the kitchen. Misha was supposed to be asleep. Then came the sound. A laugh. Not a child's laugh, but something trying to sound like one. It came from the baby monitor sitting on the counter. Anna's blood froze. She rushed up the stairs and flung open the door. Misha was fast asleep. The cat sat on the floor, back arched, staring at the closet. His fur bristled. His tail was huge, and his throat let out a long, low growl that sounded like a storm miles away. Anna, shaking, opened the closet door. Nothing. Just dust, some old wooden shelves, and one broken toy. She reached down to pick up the cat. He didn't resist. But as she carried him downstairs, she swore she heard something else just at the edge of her hearing, like scratching on the inside of the wall. The next morning, Sophia came downstairs pale. "Mom, the cat was in my room all night." Anna frowned. "He probably wandered in." Sophia shook her head. "No, I locked my door. I remember because I don't like it open when I sleep. But he was there when I woke up, sitting on my chest, staring at the door." Anna tried to explain it away. Cats are smart. Maybe the lock's old. But she knew better. The doors in that house didn't just open themselves. That evening she asked around the village, quietly, and heard more stories. "My brother saw him right before he vanished in the forest. My cousin claimed that cat walked through his mirror. He never slept again. There's always a tragedy after that cat shows up. Always. And yet, no one ever saw the cat hurt anyone. No one could explain why, despite the fear, the cat kept returning, as if guarding something, or someone." 2 weeks later, Marco wanted the cat gone. "That thing gives me the creeps," he said, setting down a crate of firewood. "Misha won't sleep without it. Sophia says it watches her shower, and last night it hissed at me while I was brushing my teeth." Anna opened her mouth to protest, but stopped, because she'd had a dream the night before. In it, she had stood in the hallway of the house, holding Misha's hand. The walls bled shadows, and down the hall, something moved toward them on spider-like limbs. Something vast and quiet and wrong. Then the cat had appeared, standing between them and the thing, and its mismatched eyes had lit up like torches. Anna had woken up screaming. She hadn't told anyone. Now, looking at her husband's frustration, she only said, "Maybe he's here for a reason." Marco rolled his eyes. "Yeah, a reason to call animal control." That night it happened. They heard scratching from under the house. Soft at first, then louder. Then the smell, damp earth and something older, like rot soaked in time. Anna got up. So did Marco. They stood in the hallway listening. The scratching became thumping, then groaning. The house itself creaked as if something underneath it had begun to wake up. Then silence. And then a whisper. It came from the baby monitor. But the sound wasn't a baby's voice. It was a deep, ragged, wet voice. And it said only one word. "Hungry." Anna rushed toward Misha's room. The cat was already there, standing in front of the crib, his body arched, fur puffed, and his mismatched eyes glowing faintly in the dark. He was growling again, but not at Misha. At the corner of the room, where something darker than dark pulsed in the air, like a wound that refused to close. Marco burst in behind her and stopped cold. Then the closet door creaked open, and they saw it. Not a figure, not a monster, just wrongness, like someone had folded reality inside out and left it festering. Like a thought that wasn't supposed to exist had crawled through the cracks. And then the cat leapt, straight into the dark. There was a howl, not the cat's, and a gust of wind that sucked every light in the room cold. Then silence. When Anna opened her eyes again, the darkness was gone. The cat stood in the middle of the room, bleeding from one paw, staring at them. Marco dropped to his knees and whispered, "What the hell is that thing?" The cat turned his head, looked at Misha, then looked back at the closet, then limped away. That night, Anna didn't sleep. She sat on the couch, the cat curled up beside her for the first time. And she whispered to no one, "You're not cursed, are you?" The cat didn't respond, but he didn't leave either. And in the walls, far, far beneath the house, something growled once, then went silent. Chapter 2, The Thing Beneath the House. Some things don't knock, they seep. From the diary of Larissa Dobrov, dated 1983. It started with a smell. Not foul exactly, but unmistakable. Earthy. What? Like grave soil turned inside out. Marco was the first to complain. "It's coming up through the floorboards," he said, poking his head beneath the sink. I thought it was mold at first, but it's not. It's older. Anna tried not to panic. Maybe it was just rot. The place hadn't been touched in over a decade. Still, every night the smell grew stronger. Not in the whole house, just in one area. The child's bedroom. And the cat, he began sleeping there every night now. Not curled on the bed, but beneath it. Motionless. Alert. His mismatched eyes wide open even in pitch dark. Like he's standing guard, Sophia said one morning, biting into toast. That's what it looks like. Anna didn't answer, because that's exactly what it looked like. Discovery in the basement. On the 7th night after the incident with the closet, Anna went down into the basement. She hadn't stepped foot there since they arrived. The door had always jammed as though something didn't want to let go. Now it swung open easily. The air was cold and moist, and not empty. Cobwebs glistened like wet silk in the dim flashlight beam. Old tools lined the walls. And in the far corner, beneath a rotting canvas sheet, she found something unexpected. A trapdoor. Locked with an old iron ring. The kind you'd expect to see in a medieval crypt, not under a Ukrainian farmhouse. Anna stared at it for a long time. Then the flashlight flickered. Once, twice. Then the bulb popped. Pitch black. And from beneath the trapdoor, a soft scratching. Like long nails against stone. Anna backed out of the basement without a word. She did not tell Marco. She did not go back. But the cat was waiting for her at the top of the stairs. He meowed for the first time, just once. Oh, broken. Like a warning. The photograph on the gable. Later that week, Sophia found something in the attic. She was looking for old books for a school project when she pulled a box labeled Larissa, personal, out from under a tattered quilt. Inside were old letters, trinkets, and a single black and white photo. It was cracked with age, yellowed around the edges. In the center stood a young version of Grandma Larissa, smiling in front of the same house, long before the rot and silence. Next to her was a cat, black, with one sky blue eye, one amber, exactly the same. But it was the background that froze Sophia in place. Behind Larissa, in the upstairs window, stood a shadow, a human-shaped void, too tall, too narrow, no face, and its hand, or something that resembled one, pressed against the glass. Anna didn't want to believe it, but when she looked at the photo she saw it too. This isn't the first time, she whispered. She pulled out Grandma's journal, the one she had refused to read until now. And on the second page, written in shaky ink, the cat came back. It always does. The thing beneath is never patient. The house is a mouth, and it remembers hunger. Voices from the walls. Misha started talking to himself. At first they thought it was harmless, kids had imaginary friends. But he used strange words. Mommy, the man in the wall says I'm too loud. Or, the mirror friend says I look like someone he used to know. One night, Anna walked past his room and heard him whispering. Not playfully, but pleading. No, please don't take it. I didn't hide it. He did. The cat. She burst in. Misha sat up, blinking. He's gone now, he said sleepily. Who? The hungry one. She looked toward the closet. It was open again. The cat sat beside it, staring into the dark. Marco's decision. Marco had had enough. I'm calling someone to take that animal away, he snapped, slamming his mug down. This is madness. You're all treating it like it's some kind of guardian angel. It's a cat, Anna. A cat. And ever since it showed up, this house has gone to hell. Anna tried to stop him, but he was already on the phone, calling the vet in the next town. They told him they could pick the cat up in the morning. That night the cat disappeared. So did Misha. Waxing crescent moon the crawlspace. They found the boy an hour later, unconscious in the crawlspace under the house. His skin was cold, lips pale. He was surrounded by deep claw marks in the dirt. Not cat-sized, too large, too long. And in the center of the floor was a symbol, carved into the earth, glowing faintly. A circle, a spiral, 3 eyes. Misha didn't wake for 2 days. The cat returned the same hour he opened his eyes. He was covered in mud, and blood that wasn't his. But his eyes, they were glowing now. dim but steady, as if something had changed or awakened. Direct hit chapter cliffhanger. What Grandma knew. That night, Anna read the rest of the journal. Near the final page, she found something written upside down, as though Larissa had hidden it from herself. The cat is the key. He holds the door shut, but only as long as he is welcome. If he leaves, it opens. Beneath it, a sketch of the same spiral symbol Anna had seen in the crawlspace. The final line read, "Never send the cat away. Never. Or the house will eat again." Anna closed the book with shaking hands. Then, from the attic, a sound like whispering, and a slow dragging of claws across wood. Chapter 3, Through the Wall of Sleep. You don't open doors in this house. You wait until they forget you're there. Village superstition, origin unknown. Misha didn't remember crawling under the house, or the voice that had guided him there. But every night since, he drew the same spiral in his cereal, in the dust on windowsills, in the condensation on the mirror after a shower. 3 curls. Always 3. Sometimes with dots where eyes should be. Anna had started sleeping in his room, just in case. The cat too never left. And every night at exactly 3:17 a.m., Misha would wake up and whisper, "It's almost out." The thing behind the wall. Marco didn't believe in possession, or demons, or haunted attics. But that changed the day he saw the wall breathe. It was in the hallway, the east wall. Always colder than the others. Always damp, no matter how many times he sealed it. He'd been replacing a loose panel when he leaned in, and the plaster pulsed. A slow, sick movement, as if something behind it had taken a breath. He stumbled back, dropped his tool. Behind him the cat growled. And Marco, tired, angry, terrified, shouted, "What the hell are you?" The cat just stared, then hissed at the wall. Not at Marco. At the thing that had begun to wake up. The dream from 1954. That night, Anna dreamt of her grandmother. But it wasn't a memory. Not really. She was inside something dark, cramped, moving, like crawling through an esophagus of stone. Larissa was ahead of her, young and barefoot, holding a lantern that burned with blue fire. "It never sleeps," she whispered. "It just waits, and it feeds on time. Every child it touches becomes a mouth. That's how it talks to the world." Anna tried to speak, but her lips were sewn shut. Larissa turned, eyes hollow. "Don't let it in. Don't let him forget who he is. The cat is not your enemy. The cat is the lock." And then Anna woke up to the sound of scratching beneath her pillow. She lifted it. The spiral was etched into the fabric. Still warm. The cat's trial. That afternoon, Misha pointed to the cellar door and said, "He has to go back down." He forgot where he came from. He was holding the cat in his lap, petting him gently. Marco, back in protective dad mode, tried to pull the boy away, but the cat didn't move, didn't scratch, just stared at the door, and meowed, softly, like agreement. Marco looked at Anna. "We're not sending our son into that cellar. I don't care what he says." "It's not about Misha going down," Anna said. "It's about him." She meant the cat. Something inside her now understood. So they opened the door, and the cat descended the basement stairs alone. Underneath, the family followed behind, flashlights in hand, down into the earth beneath the house. The trapdoor was ajar. When they lifted it, they expected dirt. Instead, they found stone steps, carved with symbols, leading down into something far older than the house. The cat went first, then Misha holding his mother's hand. Marco followed last. And beneath it all, deeper than roots, deeper than time, they found a chamber. In the center, a stone wheel, covered in spirals. In its heart, a hollow the exact size of the cat's curled body. The cat stepped into it without hesitation. His eyes began to glow, and the wheel turned. The mouth opens. From the ceiling above, from the house itself, came a scream. Not a human one, not even animal, but something that sounded like the earth trying to vomit up a nightmare. Anna felt blood trickle from her ears. Marco collapsed to his knees. Misha stood perfectly still, his lips moving. The third eye opens. It hungers. The cat let out one final agonizing meow. and the spiral wheel sealed shut, like a coffin, like a vault, and silence returned. Aftermath. When they climbed back up the stairs, the house was silent, too silent, like it was holding its breath. The spiral symbol was gone from the walls. The cold had lifted. The air smelled of cedar and dust again, not rot and blood. But the cat did not return. They waited all night, and the next, and the next. Then on the fourth night at 3:17 a.m., Anna woke to find him curled beside Misha once again, his fur thinner, one eye missing, but breathing, alive. And for the first time, Anna whispered to him, "Thank you." The cat didn't purr, but his one amber eye shimmered, as though saying, "Not yet." Chapter 4. The House That Watches. Some houses remember every footstep. Some never forget the ones they buried. Carved into the baseboard in the Dobrov cellar. 3 days passed after the spiral chamber sealed. 3 quiet, unnatural days. The kind of silence that doesn't bring peace, only waiting. The cat returned thinner, slower, silent. He barely moved from Misha's side. Even his one remaining eye seemed duller, as if whatever spark had once glowed inside him had dimmed. But the house hadn't let go. It had simply changed its face. Reflections that weren't yours. Sophia was the first to notice. It began with the mirrors. She stood brushing her teeth one evening, staring blankly at her own reflection, until her reflection blinked twice. She had only blinked once. Then it smiled. But she hadn't. She screamed. Anna came running. The mirror was normal again. But Sophia refused to go near it afterward. Every mirror in the house was soon covered with towels. Later, Marco caught his reflection watching him too long. Not mirroring, observing. "Something's using the house," Anna whispered one night. "Using it like a mask." The window man. At 3:17 a.m., the knocking began. Soft, barely there. Coming from the window in Misha's room. Not the walls, not the floor. The window. Even though they lived deep in the forest. Even though Misha's room was on the second floor. Anna stayed up with him, watching. And at 3:17 she saw it. A tall, narrow figure at the window. Shadowy. Too tall. No features. Just long limbs pressed against the glass and a face shaped like a question mark. No mouth. But somehow, it was grinning. The cat growled. And the figure melted into the dark. The lost page. Desperate, Anna went back through her grandmother's journal. Near the back she found something odd. A torn seam in the spine. She carefully sliced it open and out fell a folded page, yellow with age. Read. "I bound it once using the cat and the child. But the binding isn't forever. Every generation it tests the lock. If the lock is weakened, if the child is broken, the mouth reopens." Underneath was a drawing of the cat lying in a circle, surrounded by symbols, and beside him, a child's silhouette. Misha. The sleepwalking. That night, Misha disappeared again. They found him barefoot in the forest behind the house, standing in a clearing full of wild mushrooms. His eyes were wide open, but he wasn't awake. He kept whispering over and over, "She's in the floor now. Grandma's not sleeping. She's under us. Waiting." They brought him inside, wrapped him in blankets. The cat paced. Sophia found a spiral drawn in the dirt behind the house. This one was different. It had teeth. The attic door. For years the attic had been locked. Grandma's room. No one had touched it. The key had been missing. But that evening they found the door slightly ajar. Light spilled from beneath, flickering. No electricity ran to the attic. Anna climbed the stairs first. The door creaked open to reveal a room untouched by time. Dust danced in strange windless currents. A rocking chair moved back and forth by itself. And on the wall, written in soot, were the words, "The lock is failing." In the center of the room was a mirror. But it reflected a room that wasn't the attic. It showed a place deep underground. A twisting stone corridor. Wet walls. Scratched symbols. Anna stepped back. And her reflection did not. Anna's decision. They couldn't keep pretending anymore. The house wasn't haunted. It was inhabited. And the entity inside it wanted out. Wanted a host. Wanted the child. Because Misha was the heir to the old bloodline, the one Grandma Larissa had tried to protect. Anna understood now, the cat wasn't a pet. It was an ancient familiar, an anchor, a lock. And that lock was cracking. Unless they acted. Unless they faced what lived in the house head-on. Cliffhanger, the wall bleeds. That night, the east wall began to weep. Not water, not mold, but blood. Thick black-red, oozing between the cracks, flowing downward in slow lines. Misha sat calmly, eyes open, whispering. The mouth is speaking now. The cat stood beside him, weak, barely able to walk, but his eyes still glowed, faintly. One last spark. Anna picked him up, held him close, and looked at her family. We go back. All of us. We finish what Grandma started. Chapter 5, The Lock in the Mouth. Some doors were never meant to be closed, but some should never be opened. Last line from Larissa Dobrov's hidden journal. The house was dying. The floorboards groaned like bones under weight they were never meant to bear. The walls wept. The air had gone still and hot, as though the breath of something massive filled every room. And at the heart of it all, Misha stood still as stone. He didn't blink, didn't speak, didn't seem a human. The cat, bleeding from the nose, limping, eyes dim, circled him protectively. But even he was faltering. Anna knew they had run out of time. Back to the spiral. There was no discussion this time. No argument. No tears. They all went together. Anna, Marco, Sofia, Misha, and the cat. Down through the basement. Past the trapdoor. Down the stone steps that shouldn't exist. Into the spiral chamber, where the wheel pulsed faintly with some hidden heartbeat. It was open now. Crack. From within, cold air spilled like gas, and a low, wet sound echoed in the dark. Breathing. But it wasn't just the mouth they were facing now. It was a mod. The binding ritual. Anna held Larissa's journal in one hand. The other clutched her son. Sofia carried the last candle from the attic. Marco, pale but resolute, carried the knife, not for violence but for sacrifice. And the cat stood at the center. He was ready. The cat is the lock. The child is the anchor. The blood is the seal. The final lines of Larissa's ritual. Anna knelt, sliced her palm, let the blood drip onto the stone. It hissed. The spiral flared red. The cat lay down inside the ring again, and the mouth screamed. The mouth revealed. The wall at the far end of the chamber tore open like wet paper, not into another room, but into space. Endless, twisting, made of roots, teeth, and voices. A vast creature moved within, something not bound by form, something older than story. It reached forward with a limb made of ash and fingernails, reaching for Misha, and the child stepped forward to meet it. The cat's choice. The cat leapt, not with claws, not with fury, but with light. His single amber eye blazed with power, ancient, deep, and final. He struck the center of the spiral and sealed it. The mouth roared, the world around them cracked, and then everything vanished in a white-hot pulse of silence. The morning after, they woke in the cellar. The wheel was gone. The spiral chamber was just stone and earth. The trapdoor had crumbled. The house above was warm. So, no blood, no voices, no shadows. And Misha was sleeping peacefully in Anna's arms. Alive. Free. Epilogue. A new silence. Weeks passed. Then months. The house became a home again. Misha laughed. Sofia painted. Marco planted a garden. Anna slept without waking at 3:17 a.m. But one thing never returned. The cat. Until one foggy morning, a soft meow echoed from the porch. And there he was. Thinner. Older. Scarred. But alive. One eye shining amber. The other, missing forever. Anna opened the door. And this time he came inside. They thought he was a curse. But he was the guardian all along. Not a beast. Not a devil. Not a pet. The last of the old ones who chose to protect. Even when no one believed he could. End of chapter 5. The end.